The Fed raises the cost of money. To find out why, we'll take you to a factory that's making dough hand over fist. There are now 3 full-fledged tropical storms lined up in the Atlantic, all expected to become hurricanes. And a nightmare aboard the Norwegian Dream as the cruise ship collides with a cargo ship.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Good evening. Dan is off tonight. I'm Bob Schieffer. Well, the cost of borrowing money is going to go up. The Federal Reserve raised 2 key interest rates today to 1/4 point, the second rate hike this year, aimed at slowing the economy and keeping inflation in check. Inflation is now running 2.4%. That's up from the 1.6% rate last year, but still very, very low. So is the Fed overreacting? Here's business correspondent Anthony Mason.
The Fed hiked interest rates today to hold off inflation, but some economists believe Mr. Greenspan has nothing to worry about.
Because there really isn't any sign of inflation, any risk of inflation as we look ahead.
For all the Fed's fears, says economist Larry Schimmerin, prices are barely budging. Sure, Americans are still on a shopping spree, but there are too many stores competing for your business.
All of those factors combined have made price increases rare in virtually every single industry.
They know that in the specialty food business, where the Philo factory of Dumont, New Jersey, faces heavy competition.
So we really don't have the ability to go tell the consumer that we want more money.
So owner Ron Rexroth has streamlined his factory and redesigned his dough machine,
so that we can basically get double out of it than the predecessor machine.
His 65 workers are now more productive, and yes, Ron's making more dough.
With increasing competition today, there's no other way to survive.
The Philo factory is part of a productivity revolution in the U.S. Output for every hour worked is growing twice as fast as it did in the 1980s. But with unemployment at historic lows, Chairman Greenspan has been worried that wage inflation would kick in. So far, it hasn't.
Why aren't wages going up?
Because companies are in the catbird seat. Companies set wages, workers have no say.
Weaker unions are one reason, and economist Roseanne Kahn says all these factors can stall inflation while the economy roars ahead.
Grow is not a 4-letter word. It's just fine to grow rapidly, more rapidly than the Fed thinks, without inflation picking up.
So what is Mr. Greenspan worried about then? Well, the Fed says it wants to close off any possibility of inflation coming back. But most economists polled today believe this will be the last rate hike, at least for this year. Bob?
Thank you, Anthony. Well, Wall Street wasn't sure what to make of the Fed's action today. The Dow blue chips fell back from yesterday's record high close, but the tech-heavy NASDAQ went the other way. Major banks late today followed the Fed lead and raised their prime lending rate to 8.25%. That could lead to higher mortgage and credit card rates. On the CBS Weather Watch tonight, the only thing left of Hurricane Brett in coastal Texas is water. Overflowing creeks flooded streets and threatened homes in the farming community of Driscoll, which is near Corpus Christi. As much as 10 more inches of rain is forecast in parts of South Texas. Tonight, new threats are looming in the Atlantic, though. Tropical storm triplets, Dennis, Emily, and Cindy. Emily and Cindy are far away from U.S. shores. The most immediate concern is Dennis. CBS News weather consultant Brian Norcross is watching for the factors that will determine Dennis's path.
Bob, we're looking at 2 things. The main feature we're looking at is over the Midwest right now. Now, let me show you on this water vapor image, it's called, where we clearly see the rotation in the atmosphere. So we have these upper level winds coming around like that. This is producing bad weather across the Midwest at this point. And that's going to provide kind of a river of air up the East Coast. Now the big question is that the river going to be out here, or is it going to be more in there? That is open to complete speculation at this point. As Dennis down here moves in the direction of the southeast, it's over very warm water, and we think that this will be a formidable hurricane by the time it comes close to the southeast here in the next couple of days.
Brian Norcross. Well, after that slow start, the 99 hurricane season is obviously picking up steam, but Brett's low-impact hit on Texas may be fueling hurricane complacency along the U.S. coast. Byron Pitts has more on that now.
Today from South Texas, where a few neighborhoods are still knee-deep in floodwater, to the high-tech homes in South Florida supposedly built to withstand a Category 4 hurricane. Forecasters say they are worried new home building technology and Monday's near miss are sending the wrong message.
People may get the idea that it's all talk and no show.
In Galveston, Texas, they're building million-dollar homes not far from where 8,000 people died during the killer hurricane of 1900. Experts at the National Hurricane Center say it's only a matter of when, not if, the coastal United States will be hit by another catastrophic hurricane, one costlier than the $40 billion spent on Hurricane Andrew in 1992, and one potentially deadlier than Galveston. Lives were spared in South Texas this week because Hurricane Brett did the most damage where the fewest people live. Good fortune that's becoming harder to come by.
This room has an exposed ceiling just so it can show you some of the trusses and hurricane straps and things of this nature.
In Deerfield Beach, Florida, the federal government spent millions building, quote, disaster-resistant communities. New technology and tougher building codes have made homes safer. But even the experts say safer does not mean indestructible.
As it stands today, I think the Mother Nature is still powerful. It's still more powerful than our technology.
Still more powerful, still unpredictable, and when tested, still unforgiving. Byron Pitts, CBS News, Atlanta.
Well, another earthquake shook Turkey today, much smaller than last week's deadly tremor, but still enough to send people into the streets in panic. The death toll from the first quake is near 18,000, but it could be twice that when the search for bodies is done. Randall Pinkston reports again tonight from the scene.
On a hillside above the beach resort of Yalova lie thousands of hastily buried victims. Nearby, a pile of wood to mark more temporary graves. Some plots are not identified. Others are color-coded and numbered. A family looking for 7 lost relatives is confused. Not only did they lose loved ones to the earthquake, now they can't figure out the code to find their graves. Most of the people of Yalova have given up the search for survivors, concentrating instead on collecting their possessions.
This was once part of a 5-story apartment complex, most of it reduced to 4, some buildings to 3. This was the 3rd floor. Almost everyone living on the lower levels were crushed beyond recovery.
Rumors of tapping from underneath another building in the complex brought one of the few remaining rescue teams running.
If someone here again.
Roland Schrodt and his team from Germany already pulled 3 people out of this building alive. He thinks it's too soon to give up. His dogs are the perfect size for the narrow spaces.
Every day, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. So you see, there is hope. Huh? The people can live this time.
A week after the earthquake, people here are looking for scapegoats. Many are blaming the government, accusing it of having no emergency plan and doing little after the disaster to help them. The government is trying to respond, sending this top police official to find those responsible for building such fragile structures. In the smashed building, Ika the search dog has found something. She keeps returning to one spot. But the German rescuers, more realistic than hopeful, decided no one could be alive here. By late afternoon, they gave up. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, Yalova, Turkey.
And still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, the story of 2 ships that crashed in the night. Cities fighting gun violence may actually be contributing to the problem. And a remarkable discovery, the return of the mummies.
I just bought every overnight laxative I could find.
Why?
To prove nothing's gentler than Phillips Milk of Magnesia. X-Lax, Senecot, every one of these others contains stimulants. That one says on the label it may cause abdominal discomfort, faintness, and cramps. Phillips is the only one that's stimulant-free. Nothing's more effective, nothing's safer. Does that explain everything?
Yeah, except who's taking these back?
Phillips, safe, effective relief without harsh stimulants. It's summer, when everybody can use the refreshment of a good hose down. And your deck can use the refreshment of a new coat of Thompson's Wood Protector. For rain, sun, mildew, it's the most powerful Thompson's yet. Thompson's Wood Protector. It never takes a day off.
Anne Klein Eyewear by Luxottica. What do you want people to see?
I want you to see fearlessness.
The unexpected.
I want you to see you don't need words to make a statement.
Ask for the latest Anne Klein styles by Luxottica.
I'm not a person who rushes into things until they're great. Like this new fabric spray, Resolve Fabric Refresher. It gets rid of odors safely and permanently, and dries faster than the leading brand. See, Resolve has this quick-drying spray that removes the toughest odors with a gentle mist. Your sofa's not only fresh-smelling, in minutes it's dry. New quick-drying Resolve Fabric Refresher. Why wait? It's in your laundry aisle now.
Well, by now, everyone knows this storyline. A luxury passenger ship cruising through the night when suddenly it strikes a large unknown object. Well, it happened last night in the English Channel. This time, the unknown object turned out to be a container ship. No one was seriously hurt, but it was a spectacular wreck. Mark Phillips reports.
One thing was clear as the Norwegian Dream limped into the English port of Dover, looking like she had lost a fight with the nautical Mike Tyson. She wasn't leaving on a new cruise anytime soon, much to the prospective passengers' relief.
I'm glad we're not going anywhere on that.
Still out in the channel where the collision had taken place early this morning was the cargo ship Ever Decent, some of her containers still burning after being set on fire by the impact. The fire, fueled by paint in the containers, burned all day. The cruise ship passengers, most of them American, stepped ashore, relieved they hadn't repeated nautical history.
Well, the first thought I had was Titanic. Are we sinking? Are we going to die? You know. Glad to be on ground. It was pretty scary. It was very scary. It was very, very scary.
At the time of the collision in the middle of the night, the passengers may have had images of Titanic, but the only thing to have sunk today is the value of Norwegian Cruise Line shares on the Oslo Stock Exchange. The collision was so violent it knocked containers off the cargo ship's deck and onto the cruise ships. The passengers counted their blessings that only a handful of minor injuries resulted, although there were lots of stories to bring home.
One woman walked down the hallway and said, "We're all going to die." We didn't know if she knew what she was talking about or not. Fortunately, she didn't.
Investigators are equally clueless as to how this accident involving two modern ships could have happened in one of the most tightly controlled seaways in the world. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Dover.
An American teenager who fled to Israel to avoid a murder charge has reportedly agreed to plead guilty. The plea bargain is a surprise reversal by 17-year-old Samuel Scheinbein. Last month, he pleaded not guilty in an Israeli court to charges of murdering another teenager in Maryland. Prosecutors say that Scheinbein will be sentenced to 24 years in an Israeli prison. Well, it is day 2 of a tense standoff in Kosovo. Ethnic Albanians in one divided city refused to lift their blockade against Russian peacekeeping troops. They say the Russians sided with the Serbs during the war and took part in massacres of Albanians. On the other side of town, Serbs rallied in support of the Russians and against the Kosovo Liberation Army. Coming up next, an Eye on America investigation about cities aiming to fight gun violence, but actually adding to the arsenal on the street.
Cleaning your teeth, protecting against plaque and tartar buildup, and prevention of gingivitis is crucial. You got that, Eline? Regular use of Dentabone has been clinically shown to reduce gingivitis. Just look at the difference it made in these 2 dogs. I recommend Dentabone from Pedigree.
I may look young, but I still suffer from hot flashes. I discovered a natural way to deal with it. New Healthy Woman from the makers of Monistat. Healthy Woman's a soy menopause supplement that helps relieve hot flashes in a natural way. New Healthy Woman.
Out here, I'm in command. So am I supposed to say, slow down, guys, I'm constipated? I don't think so. You try to eat right. Sometimes you can't. Harsh chemical laxatives, they can kick in whenever and wherever. Not an option. So I rely on doctor-recommended Metamucil. It's got 100% natural fiber. Works with my body, gently, which is important to a sensitive guy like myself.
Metamucil, the doctor's natural choice for regularity.
Glidden and Home Depot together, it's an unbeatable combination.
We are a paint store in Home Depot.
Glidden's been around 120 years, and they know paint.
It's unbeatable.
So I can always honestly recommend that you use Glidden paint.
It applies easily, doesn't splatter because it's a nice thick paint.
You just get a brush and roller and you go at it. It covers really well.
It's a quality paint.
Good durability, good price.
Glidden has it all. You don't stay in business for 120 years if you don't have good exterior paint.
All right, kid. Here we go. 10-9. What do you got? What do you got? Yeah. All right, come on, come on.
What would you do if someone you loved had a heart attack?
Yeah.
Did you know it's now been proven that the same Bayer aspirin you have in your bag for muscle aches may actually help stop you from dying if you take it during a heart attack?
Downtown. Lucky shot.
Can your pain reliever do that? Talk to your doctor now.
Next time I'll go easier on you.
Bayer, powerful pain relief and so much more.
Tonight's Eye on America investigation into the flow of guns into and off our streets. To cut the number of firearms out there, Washington, D.C. is paying $100 for every gun turned in. Over the past 2 days, well over 1,000 have been collected. The city intends to melt the guns down. But other cities are actually pumping firearms into the market, selling guns once used by their police. Ironically, some of these same cities are now suing gun makers for the cost of gun violence. Vince Gonzalez reports.
101 California.
In 1993, after a gunman with semi-automatic weapons killed 8 people in a San Francisco high-rise, the mayor at the time demanded a ban on assault weapons.
There is absolutely no reason in any kind of an urban setting to ever have a weapon legalized and be able to have it available. This is a weapon of war.
He's got a big old gun, looks like an automatic weapon.
Just a year later, a drifter with 2 assault rifles and an Uzi killed a police officer and turned the streets of San Francisco into a war zone.
Oh, you guys are going to have to get off the street.
Again, there were calls for tougher laws. But while city officials were trying to get guns taken off their streets, the San Francisco Police Department began putting their used weapons back on the streets. According to documents obtained by CBS News, over a 2-year period, San Francisco police sold or traded more than 100 of their assault weapons, including AR-15s and Uzis. Both of those guns are illegal in California, so they were sold to dealers, including this one in South Central Los Angeles, who resold them to gun shops out of state.
I really think a lot of people just weren't thinking.
That could be a problem for Louise Rennie, the city attorney, because San Francisco is suing gun makers for being irresponsible, making it easy for criminals to get guns.
Will it hurt our lawsuits? I don't think so.
But it can't help their case. In fact, of the 12 major cities suing gun makers, CBS News has learned that most have been selling or trading their used weapons for years. St. Louis approved a 6-figure arms deal just last week. But of all the cities we looked at, it's Detroit, once the nation's murder capital, that now ranks #1 in the gun business. According to contracts and shipping records, over the last 7 years, the Detroit Police Department made nearly $1 million selling 14 tons of used weapons, mostly handguns, to a Vermont dealer. In Washington state, money was the reason the budget-strapped Cosmopolis Police Department traded in this 9mm Glock pistol.
I can't just destroy it, or I would have to answer to the council and the citizens here for wasting the money somehow.
It was the same gun that Buford Furrow allegedly used during his shooting rampage to kill postal worker Joseph Aledo.
There's only one reason why these guns were manufactured and made, and that was to kill people.
The Los Angeles Police Department says it is more concerned with saving lives than saving money.
We don't know where the guns are going to end up, and we just don't want to take that chance, even if we could make $1 or $2.
So when the Los Angeles Police Department upgrades its arsenal, the old firearms are saved for parts or destroyed, along with about 10,000 weapons the city confiscates each year. Some cities are following LA's lead. Boston began restricting sales in April, and just before San Francisco sued gun makers in May, police promised to stop selling their used weapons.
Am I sorry that we didn't end the practice sooner? Of course.
And gun dealers will be sorry if more police start destroying their old firearms. They've been making a killing off buyers willing to pay top dollar for a gun once owned by a cop, especially the most lethal weapons, which can no longer be made in the USA. In Los Angeles, this is Vince Gonzalez for Eye on America.
And still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, an apparent new setback for the U.S. government's China spy investigation.
You better eat your crust, Richard.
Why?
It gives you curly hair.
If crust would let me kick a ball 50 yards, then I'd eat it.
Tim and Richard love strawberry jam spread on warm toast. Now they're the 4th generation of Smuckers making it.
Now, if crust got me A's in school, then maybe.
Nope. Curly hair.
Here, have my curls, Tim.
For more than 100 years, with a name like Smuckers, it has to be good.
Staples presents the Staples Coach of the Week program. It's our salute to leaders on the field and in the classroom. And it's your chance to win $5,000 in school supplies for your school, plus a visit from your local NFL head coach. To enter, visit a Staples near you. Register at www.staples.com or send your entry to Staples Coach of the Week. Watch NFL Today Sundays on CBS for winners.
One of life's most joyful moments can also be one of its most painful. But take comfort in Tylenol, the pain reliever doctors and hospitals choose most.
Come meet your little brother.
Hello.
Tylenol, take comfort in our strength.
I should have used Preparation H.
Cool it fast. Introducing Preparation H Cooling Gel. Cools on contact for fast relief. New Preparation H Cooling Gel cools on contact.
Hi, I'm Bob Vila. You know, your home is your sanctuary, the one place you and your children should feel safe. But there can be dangers, too, and some of them are not so obvious. Improperly wired outlets that can electrocute, water coolers that can burn, household cleaners that can kill, lead paint that can poison. To find out about them, call HUD.
For a free brochure on HUD's healthy homes and FHA loans, just call. HUD and FHA are on your side.
There was confirmation today that a top U.S. Energy Department intelligence officer has quit over the investigation of alleged Chinese nuclear spying. It is only the latest twist in the controversial case against the prime suspect. Cheryl Atkinson has our report.
The abrupt resignation of Notre Trulock may be another sign that the espionage case against scientist Wen-Ho Lee is crumbling. It was Trulock who first blew the whistle on Chinese spying at the nation's weapons labs.
By early 1996, we had identified a number of suspects.
The number of suspects quickly narrowed to Lee, a Chinese American. But so far, the intense investigation has failed to link Lee to any espionage, raising serious questions about whether he was targeted because of his race. And that's what Lee told 60 Minutes' Mike Wallace.
They think I'm, Chinese people. I was born in Taiwan. I think that's part of the reason. And the second reason, they want to find out some scapegoat.
Energy Department official Ernest Moniz said it was the FBI who decided to pursue Lee, not Trulock.
He, with the FBI, helped to develop candidates for further investigation, and of course the FBI subsequently started an investigation with one particular suspect.
Notre Trulock told superiors he resigned because he's angry over the lack of support for some of his work and findings in the Lee case. But Lee supporters view his departure as the latest fallout in the blame game over who's responsible for pinpointing Lee and why. Cheryl Atkinson, CBS News, Washington.
In a move with possible nationwide implications, a federal judge today blocked resumption of the voucher program for thousands of students in Cleveland when school opens tomorrow. Judge Solomon Oliver said he wants to determine if the program that lets students attend private schools at taxpayer expense violates the constitutional separation of church and state. And coming up next on the CBS Evening News, mummies for the millennium.
It's surprising who's drinking Ensure.
Healthy people. Staying healthy means eating right. But when you can't eat nutritious foods like these, drink Ensure. With essential vitamins and minerals you find in vegetables, calcium like in milk, and protein like in fish, Ensure's a source of complete balanced nutrition. Helps you stay active and energetic. Drink Ensure. And drink to your health. And now there's Ensure High Calcium, with calcium and other key nutrients to help build strong bones.
Hi, I have a question about buying stock. What's the difference between a market order and a limit order? Hello? Excuse me.
When you have an investment question, does your online brokerage have anybody there to answer it? We do.
You didn't save me any?
There wasn't enough.
Quaker Toasted Oatmeal Squares. Crunchy whole grain squares with a hint of brown sugar. You haven't wanted a cereal this badly since you were a kid.
Yeah, I've been having this problem with my girlfriend. It's
diarrhea. Get it, and you want it gone.
Really good listener.
Imodium Advanced combines 2 medicines that relieve diarrhea plus cramps and bloating faster.
Was I right to invite my mom to my honeymoon?
Absolutely. Imodium Advanced.
Right now, LensCrafters is having an end-of-summer sun sale. You can get a complete pair of prescription sunglasses for only $99 in your choice of hundreds of the latest styles. The end-of-summer sun sale. On now at LensCrafters. Hurry, sale ends soon.
China's population of pandas is growing again. At the Beijing Zoo, 18-year-old Ming Ming is the mother of twins. The labor and delivery were shown on Chinese TV. Only about 1,000 giant pandas remain in China, about 100 in captivity. Ming Ming has produced 9 of them. And finally tonight, some old news, or at least some news from long ago. About 250 miles southwest of Cairo, they have found an ancient treasure of gold. 105 well-preserved golden mummies, and they say there could be 10,000 more. They're about 1,800 years old, fairly new in Egypt's long history, but remarkable for their detailed, lifelike mass. Even more remarkable, the gold still gleams. The find is one of the most important ever. Officials called it breathtaking.
They found in this tomb 43 mummies. In my right hand, gilded mummies. In my left hand, gilded mummies. The rays of the sun was coming. I looked at the rays of the sun. All of it was gold. It is the most exciting moment in my life.
Archaeologists found the burial site 3 years ago when a donkey stumbled into it, but didn't realize its vastness until this year, and now believe it could take 10 years to uncover everything there.
This discovery that comes to us before the millennium, it is a gift from Egypt to the whole world.
And so it is. And so it is that's the news. For Dan Rather, this is Bob Schieffer, CBS News in New York. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
Want a super baby with a higher IQ? Many think classical music can boost the brain. The results of new research on the power of music tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
High-tech learning tools for your kids tomorrow on This Morning. Experience CBS News.
A Shelbyville teenager is charged with killing his father and